So maybe we can talk about a little bit more about, let's call it creative behavior. Let's call it that. When you are in a certain place for a certain amount of time, if your frequency is shifting due to your allowance, then certainties in your life that are stable become irritating, I would say, or less relevant. Staples in your life that are staple to your personality, but not to your persona. Maybe a coffee drinker, maybe a one drink to take the edge off after work. Whatever it is, it means nothing truly. It's all subjective and honest to the self, intimate. But you understand the change. Now, this creative behavior is due to politics, conformities, family law, or respect in some manners, salutations and situations, hellos of particular ideas that draw upon you to bring up that comfortable idea of habit or behavior. When you work yourself through life, you discover many things about you, and a lot of them are quite embarrassing, quite substantially something to get rid of. A very big, thick thorn in your side. Guilt, regret, a dirty thought. Something about you that would almost disgust you. These ideas that you are embarrassed about are creation. And you attach to your personality a behavior. Now, it doesn't have to be in dirty as in measure dirty. It can be embarrassing dirty. Speak of that manner. We're talking something that is grotesque to you, the way you behave. Like, let's say, Roxanne's relationship to money. It was fucking disgusting how much she did not, let's say, deserve money. She made it, but she never kept it, never used it for herself. It was always something to get rid of because she doesn't deserve to have it. And the only way to get it was hard work, and that was her reality. Now, see, that's an attached creative behavior, and it's part of the personality that is built, right? But this is who you're getting to know. You're getting to know the intimate self, and each portion of yourself must not be judged. No matter what you discover about yourself, good, bad, or indifferent, it cannot be laid upon the table to be measured, because then you rectify the personality and, of course, diminish the persona as soon as you add any kind of self-assessment to the moment. Now, let me look at that for a moment, because you have to realize things about you. But what does human habits do? Once you realize something about you, then there's an automatic reaction to really dive into it to the point of exhaustion. And maybe this is the staple personality we're talking about, a behavior that you're supposed to do so much. But see, this becomes the intimate of you. See, society teaches you experience. And then what I'm going to talk about here is this little side note about what it means to have something down pat. On the planet Earth, what does it mean? Experience. When you're good at basketball, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, they've done the work. They're masters of the game. You know, let's say Tom Brady, good football player, right? We're going to use Roxanne Sports Mind here. And they know the game, right? And since they know the game, they have an investment, and they're looked upon that idea as something that is something that is needed, and it is investment, and there is an extraordinary amount of results. Okay, now look at that system, that process in and of itself. Time spent, investment means educated, and let's say you're roadworthy, things like that. So that does take precedent. But see, what it does is it's a stapled habit. You have to see that. And let me explain. Because when you are intimate with yourself and you discover something you don't like about yourself, maybe, or something that isn't pleasurable to know about you or the way you're judging others. I mean, it's the others that you want to blame, but you know you can't blame a creator for being his truth. I mean, that's just way past you now, isn't it? So you know it's you. So instead of targeting, you accept, and you're not real happy, although they triggered it and it'd be easier to blame them, but you know that's your stapled personality, belief system, right? So you want to dive into that process and see what happens is the habit of the investigator or the investor of let's say, a detailed skill pulls over as a process into this, and you think you have to spend a hell of a lot of time knowing what the hell's wrong with you. Well, you don't. Why? Because there's no time. Everything is instant in the moment. And what you have to understand, now listen now, this is why you guys have those whack-a-mole things we talked about before. For those of you who don't know what that is, I'll explain here in a moment. But let's look at this. When you find a behavior that is no longer conducive to the reality of your truth, and you know damn well it doesn't belong in your personality as a truth, it's a truth of creation coveted, no longer needs to be there, you accept it and allow it and you move on from it. But see, sometimes you don't move on in its immediacy, although your heart tells you it's good, I got this. But see, this mind is still relevancing it, using it as a trait or a personality idea, and it comes up again and again in thoughts, maybe even for the immediate time that you realize it, and you dive into it and say, okay, this hurts, let me really get into it here, and then you start to investigate. Well, see, that's the process. That's another personality because it doesn't take that effort. You got to be noticeable of your actions, not in a distance of 1 or 2 minutes, in the simplicity, in the absolute master speed of the now. Very fast. The now is going to tell you, and you have to trust it. See, you guys don't trust the personality that you are because you have been taught the personality that you relied upon has been such a fucking failure until you have shown your worth. And lots of you have. You have families and degrees and stable jobs and excellent houses and wonderful. You've done the societal thing, but we don't give a flying fuck about society. We're not here for societal needs. We're here to remember you are a God. That's right. So we have to get intimate with the personality that no longer allows us to be relied upon. We don't want to rely upon these personality complexes anymore to know ourselves as what? Existence? Worthy? Blah, 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 blah. We're not going to get into that, but you know what I'm saying. So when that process takes you into a time span, but the heart says, I understand it, and then sometimes you guys are really surprised at what you fucking understand about yourself, and you don't believe it because you don't trust it, because that's the habit that's been stapled to you, is that you haven't put enough time into it. So there's 2 or 3 personality complex coveted by humanity standards that you took on as an attribute to get through life that you use in the moment to get through life. But you realize you don't have to. You don't have to. Okay? You really don't have to do any of it. Look, if it comes up in the moment, you accept this as like, wow, this fucking hurts. But you don't need to do it for an extended period of time. You don't need to sit with it for an inordinate amount of time. Sit with it to your truth and let it the fuck go and start going into the now. But if you are relating to an issue and it's carrying over in a span of time, then you're validating that personality, whether it is a good time or a bad time. It doesn't matter. If you're trying to extend it with the truth of the personality, then you know. Then you're being a process. Now it becomes very, very honest. Because to stop that means to lose that. And you're going to lose a portion of your existence that you feel is validated through the actual structure. And then you will be left with an unwanting, unfulfilling moment that is not familiar in the fullness of the personality. You're going to be a persona, then you don't know what the fuck that is. You can feel your existence, but you don't know how to staple yourself to the grandeur of an identity. You got to start seeing that. And that happens instantaneously in the now. If you want to be troublesome, then go through it and be troublesome. But you have the ability to say, it's not troublesome anymore. Now and then I guarantee you, if you start to focus and stay passionate in the current, instead of staying passionate about what went wrong or how you feel or what you discovered, and you want to swirl that vortex into a mediocrity fucking cesspool party of pity, then do so. But you have the heart that it is that. And if you deny yourself at the mastery level that you are, then you are only conforming yourself to stay human. And you're not that. You're going to relate to humanity. I'm not going to take you kicking and dragging. I'm going to show you, and for those of you that choose, then you will know. For those of you who don't, you will know. You will know anyway. But it's in your world, when? The particular now you choose. Anyways, so we want to know this about ourselves. We want to know these behaviors created, right? There's a lot of habits around reality because a situation triggers. Okay, for those of you who drink or smoke and have what you would call vices, listen up. You know that sometimes you just grab a cigarette or need one if a detail triggers. Cup of coffee, got to have that in the morning. A drink, after work, maybe even during lunch, because you got to have that, because when the situation changes, there's a release in here, right? The release is whatever vice that you've attached to. And we're just using alcohol and sex or smoking for one, but sex is another, of course. There's a lot of anger is another, targeting people just to be bitches. People try to use Roxy as a fucking punching, a pincushion, or a commodity sometimes. She tells them to fuck off and leaves. Because they know that that is a staple in their life that they can rely on in certain dependencies that need her to be pushed out because they have no other way. So they see someone who has a heart and that is caring, and they go after it to get that feeding off of her. Now Roxy realizes they were just using her and trying to fleece her for her worth. So they can pincushion Roxy to get their thing. Their what? Their drug. Doesn't matter how it is. But see, the situation now, intimate now, that gives you a relevant reality, that gives you a personality or behavior created, triggered, then that's when you got to see it. That's when you got to see it. That's how Roxy quit smoking and stopped drinking coffee, because she realized they were just triggers. Then when she started to accept the situation, smoking became an idea of a habit, something that was physical, not in the idea of behavioral connection. Big difference. Coffee didn't taste good to her anymore. She tried a cup of coffee like 2 weeks ago. It was okay, but she's not quite there. It didn't relate. Maybe it'll come back, maybe it don't. Make sense? But now it's a relationship because it's a communion with that vibrational match. It's not a personality or what I like to call behavioral creation, right? So this is how you become intimate with your reality, is when you start to notice, and you have to be a master at this and stop fucking around with time and be now. When you start to be now about these items, then the only thing is going to occur is realization about your relationship with things that are not obscure, or rather that are quite obscure, that are not obvious, like money, lack, and fear of security and jobs and family and love. We're talking behavior, everyday action, interaction that creates your reality, down to the fucking words you use every single day that are vibrational truths that create reality, and they always do one, two of twofold. They create whole, they create fractal, because that's where you live right now. And when you know you are fractalized, creating that, then you have the whole present to change the now in relationship. And that's it. And it's over. It's over. You don't have to dwell with it. But you guys feel so grand and so accomplished when you do things to feel the end result, because that's the process of behavior. The creative behavior of hard work equals results. And it does in a human world. But I'm not lecturing, teaching, or engaging with humans. I'm here as a God to equal myself. Whether you choose to be along with that is up to you. Truly. Yes, Rox, we got it. So it's like the little things. You have big things and you have little things. It's the little things that you really need start to see. Watch yourself. Really see how you automatically react to something. Maybe you move your head, or maybe you smile a certain way, or laugh a certain way. You know, laughing is a big defense against things. It also, you want other people to laugh with you when it ain't fucking funny, but you laugh out of a certain behavioral habit. So that's one way to look at it. There's also smirks and smiles, or little ideas of, oh, that's bullshit, and you comfortable. Everything must be scrutinized. And it's not in time. It's now. And the instant now of realization tells you a truth about it, and there's nothing else you need to know. You accept it and go about your now. Keep going. Because what you're going to do is realize the now. And what is everything, guys? Everything is a matter of focus. If you're focusing now, then you're sure as hell can't keep that shit around, because it's resolved as soon as you are aware of it. It may rear its ugly head with a whack-a-mole idea. Oh, it's over here now. It's over here now. Like Brent, if you're not here, I don't think Brent's here. Brent, are you here? No. So Brent did this thing. Oh, I'm not having any fear about my hair loss. Now it's this. No, it was fear. See, he was defining it as detail. So the whack-a-mole is fear will pop its ugly head up anywhere, right? That's why you don't define it to a process. You accept the action, the thing that triggered it, the behavioral idea triggered your notification of, oh, every time shit gets, oh my God, or the phone rings. Roxy used to pick up a cigarette as soon as the phone would ring, and she'd talk and light up and, you know, jibber jabber for a while and do her little smoking thing, right? So that was a behavioral habit. See, she had to notice that habit, but it wasn't the habit that she had to resolve by stop smoking. It was the what? Vibration. The idea that triggered the entire physical action. That's what she needs to see. That's the intimate of the moment. And what happens when you accept it? It's another now. And what happens when you focus on the now? This shit ain't mattering anymore, because where are you? You're in the now, and the now is unknowable. So when you keep habiting of the now and stop habiting of fixing yourself in a process of extended time, because the societal needs you to invest, and you can't trust yourself that you got it without some pre-course of some determinate outcome that can be measured, then you know. You can just instantly trust it and let it go. And when it pops up in the head, it's not going to pop up in the same detail. If it does, it doesn't matter. It's the vibration. But see, when you start focusing on now, instead of what you are in measurement, the more now you will be, then your focus changes reality, doesn't it? Yes. Energy follows awareness. Creation is I am this. When you are I am this now, then all this other shit, because it ain't you that's energizing it, so it ain't in your world. You are responsible for your own creation. Where you focus, where you truth, where you rely, where you depend, where you anything is your instant now. And that's the creator that you are. You guys are trying to create all your fucking saviorship shit. Doing all the stuff that makes it. I'm talking to humans now. Relax. The human portion always wants to do something. Creation is something. It is creating. Get to know this intimate. Focus on the now. When it comes up, accept it, move on. Don't let it idealize, oh, it's not this, but it's over here. Because, see, you're okay with the hair loss because what did you consider? Brent, the hair loss consideration was actually the detail, but you didn't consider the relationship, the vibration. the worthiness to unworthiness relationship that gave you that it needed to be placed in, okay, hair, but all of a sudden now, oh my God, my ass isn't big enough, or my skin is ugly, or I have a tick, or I don't know how to talk because I have a stammer. You're going to find it. See, that's the vibration that creates the detail. You need to know the vibration by accepting the vibration, but not processing it as a detail. You got to say, cool, look at that fucking pain. Yeah, bitch. All right, time to get some meat. Time to go. Time to move. Be now, now, now. And let go of the shit in time. It's a habit. It's a habit of being now. We're saying it's a habit of being now, but it's your natural. But to show you that you can remember to habit yourself in the now. To not habit yourself as the measurement of your own exploration into yourself with an extended amount of time that is not needed because the heart's already told you, what the fuck are you doing, man? Let's go. Let's go play. No, 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 no. Let's think about this. Let's make sure we got it right here. And then you're all caught up into the fractal detail, the relationship on how it's behaved in the idea of the physical realm instead of the intimate birther of that relationship to your worthiness. That's where you got to spend some time. In the now, okay? The now is going to start to be relative to you, as it has been. More and more of you all know that the now is getting an exciting place. Really doesn't matter what your mind says, because whatever the fucking mind says, whatever your fucking mind says is complete horse shit. I don't give a fuck what it is. It's not real until you say yes to it. With what? Your truth. You have to say yes to it, otherwise it doesn't happen. And that's why you spend time in the now to figure out why everything is now, and you didn't create it consciously and understand why it's here. Well, because it's your truth. You guys keep thinking up in this mind up here, and this truth is yes or no. It's not. That's conscience mind of separation living in time that's fractalized on a polarity scale, and it lives in that realm and invites your consciousness back every single day, every single now, until there is no more focus on it, and then it cannot relate to reality. You, focus, cannot relate to reality as a polarized self. All right, someone just asked us, so what about memory? Well, what about it? What's created in the moment, guys? Memory. Right? So your memory changes, and you don't know your memory changes because the memory changes is always congruent to the memory of yourself now. So nothing changes as far as your timeline consideration because memory lives where? In time, right? So if you're more and more now, then the vibration memory must match the now of your worthiness. So you do get different situational nows, right? And you will have different situational memories. And a lot of the memories that were what you would call pain in the ass, vibrations of unworthiness, don't get triggered. Why? Because you're not fucking unworthiness. That frequency can't match in the idea of the now, giving you the memory of that, of your past, pardon me. What was that, olives? Oof. Anyways, so here, right? This back idea, the memory goes here. I always put it to the left, okay? So your memory is right here. Your frequency relationship creates the memory. So if you are a big piece of shit to yourself, are you going to think about how much shittiness you are to yourself? Well, hell yes. That's where your memory is going to rely upon you as an existing truth because that's the source. The now must go to the source that you tell it to go to. So the now says, this one is unworthy. Let's have an unworthy somewhere frequency that matches that in memory. So there it is, and it's up here in the details. Remember that time you got caught choking the chicken in the boys' bathroom? You never did? Ever? Guys, still every I can feel it, I can read it. You guys still think it's one fucking earth, one timeline, one memory. It's a billion. Now. Every now you create yourself, recreate yourself, recreate yourself. And every single time you get a memory. So everyone in this class right now memorizes classes of what? Slides class. Well, that's only one little now of your entire reality. You guys haven't been coming to class as a human the whole time, have you? No. So the sly class memory can be in the idea because it's up here in awesome, but you go back down here to the shittiness, right? If you don't focus on your unworthiness and you keep choosing your awesomeness, that memory can't ever get triggered again. You can have the sly class timeline, but you'll never remember your shittiness timeline. Why? Because you're not interested in it. So the now doesn't create a memory that matches your fucking uninteresting reality. It only matches the one that you're interested in. Okay, now that we know that. Roxy called me Captain Obvious. You're funny, Roxy. Where is it? All right, so just give you a heads up. December 28th and 29th, Roxy's going to do a channeling on a Friday evening and then a work class, workshop class, whatever you guys call it, on Saturdays. So 28th and 29th, Friday and a Saturday here in San Antonio. So she's putting it out there to give you a heads up in case any of you want to come down. Might be some other present. Jennifer, I'm sure, is going to be here. Possibly Rose might be here as well. Tommy Jean's going to be here. Shagufta might come down. Tom might come over. Maybe Evelyn as well. We're just putting it out there in your vibrational reality. So back to the memory, so I can give you this a little bit more. So let's use this. Let's use guilt. Okay. Roxy's, while we're getting intimate here, Roxy's passion about smoking a cigarette was the connectivity to her feminism, okay? The feminine part of her was sexy, and it needed to feel that. In the 70s, when Roxy was growing up, there was nothing more sexier than a woman in a halter top or a bandana top, hot pants, for those of you who don't know, look it up, and smoking a cigarette with long straight hair and fucking share glasses. Roxy was absolutely envious. It wasn't a sexual connection. It was a connection to feminism, the feminine part of her. But it was sexual in nature as far as the way the women would, let's say, Roxy felt the way they felt when they did that. So that was her connections to it. So that idea is embarrassing to Roxy, right? Very embarrassing. So whenever she was smoking, right, she would be embarrassed when people would ask her why she was smoking. She never told the truth, right? Her truth. She told the truth of her in the now, but not her truth of this is true. Because who the fuck are people to know that she has a connection with her sexual side that would be considered feminine, right? Especially growing up. Okay, so you get that, right? So that embarrassment would stay around. So whenever there was an idea brought up about smoking, the memory of the now, 20 years later, would give her that same vibrational embarrassment. You get it? Because she was smoking, because it was bad for you, was this and that. But it was always embarrassing for her because she knew the truth. So until she truly, always, until she was okay with what she was, then that same memory always occurred. Because it was the memory that matched her inner idea questioning. When her mom and dad found out that she was smoking at the time with her first or second, which one, Roxy? Pretty much the second ex-wife, yeah. The second ex-wife, no, it was the first ex-wife. It was Zoe, yes. Okay, so with Zoe, she smoked too with Roxy, and the parents found out. And you know what Roxy said? She was so embarrassed. She was just devastated that they found out, but they needed to find out because she was tired of hiding it. Roxy says, well, I'm old enough, but she did it in a little baby way, like, I'm old enough, right? She was just devastated because the parents were everything, right? Disappointing mom and dad crushed her. You all understand that pain, right? Or someone else that has that kind of authority. So see that embarrassment, right? And it was triggered that she was able to smoke, and they go, well, we know you're old enough, but it's bad for you. Says two parents who, smoked in Roxy's entire life, when she was growing up. Until she left the house, they were still smoking in the house. It was just human. It was not their fault, nothing about that. But she had that. She, took it on as another generation of smokers, whatever you want to call it. But the idea here is to listen about the idea of the behavior. So she got that embarrassing thing in a whole new way, right? Because now the cat was out of the bag with the parents. So not only did she have the sexual idea, she had the embarrassment of her parents that she was allowed to. But that actually turned out to be good for Roxy, because now she was okay because she wasn't hiding it. Because there was also the hidden factor that Roxy never knew. Not only was she hiding it because it was a connectivity to her feminine side, Roxanne's side, instead of the Roy side of her, but it was also the embarrassment, the hiding. I'm not old enough to smoke. Here she is, 20-something years old. Are you serious? So that all was a relationship of discovery. And then she just wasn't embarrassed about it, just kept on smoking until she realized that she's not interested in smoking. And especially when she became Roxanne, there was no accord to it. But see, these are the memories triggered because she had a relationship with a what? With a behavior, a creative behavior against the norms of society that was countered. Whenever it doesn't fit the congruency of human psyche as acceptable, then you're going to have a behavioral idea, a creative behavior against your natural. Because you want to do what the fuck you want to do, or you don't want to do what the fuck you don't want to do, because that's the natural of creators. We do that of our truth. There's no helping. We can never go against our truth. But the fractal can, and that hurts, right? So that idea behavior was structured. And it's never realized until you guys get down and dirty and honest and intimate with yourself. And that has to be realized every single moment. And that's how your memories change. It's not that all of a sudden you're going to never remember you or who you are today. You're just going to cut out 10 years of your fucking life and replace it with another 10 years of your life. You don't want to hear the fucking weird shit about that? You ready? Neither of those 10 years fucking happened. Okay? They were just memories. The whole Christ conscience never took place on earth. It all happened up here. And you know how much actually happened in physical creation? When physical ideas, zero for physical creation, but when we're talking, when entities got together, only a few times in the now. The rest of it was all memories of a now. The human mind can remember 20 years, then you got 20 years of information, and you don't have to sit here 20 years co-creating with each other in a congruent timeline. Why? Because that's not what? It's not effort. It's effortless. Right? It's what you got to look at. So you don't want to have a shitty life anymore. To remember, okay, why do people stay proud? Because it's a what? A behavioral structure. A creative behavioral idea. Creative behavior. I got to think of a name for that. I like that. We use it in the seminar, in the work class. Yeah. So that idea of behavior that you got to see that you're constructing, right, out of a personality. When you change that, you're going to get different memories. You're going to get different life. But if you keep taking that incident and created a structure of behavior called pride, and you rely on pride for existence, then you're going to always have the memory of the same fucking proud moment. Because that's what the mind is what? 100% what? Efficient. It never efforts. It's an instant creation to the match, and it hesitates at nothing. So you're always proud of a certain idea. I mean, fuck. Bruce Springsteen, the fucking boss, wrote a song about it, Glory Days. You relive those things because that's the only thing you can rely on, because you're afraid of the fucking now, because the now is not going to give you a way to feel about I exist. Because why? Because you're separated. You didn't know. Get over it. Got to get over it. Got to get over you chose came here. That's why it's so easy to be a pity party and a victim. You know? Roxy noticed something the other day. She lives here in Texas. Texas has what you would consider, let's say, rednecks, right? A lot of country folk out here. And when they come from the outskirts, you can tell that they're country. Now, you have country down here in Texas, and you got your cowboys and your city country. You know, the ones a little bit more city folk. But then you have your country. Now, these are the ones that the trash can is a mile away. To get to any kind of store, you have to drive 45 minutes down a washboard road. Texas is a big fucking place, right? You got to drive all the way through the cattle or the different idea farms. So we're talking country. Now, she noticed something. When they come to the mall, you can spot them because you can feel their vibration. And you know that they're country, deep country, right? Awesome. We love them because they're so entertaining. I mean, fuck, look at YouTube. I mean, how many people would be missing out on the extreme idea creative of fucking rednecks? I love what they do. Anyways, here we go. All of them, every time Roxy sees them, when they come to the mall, families, 3 or 4 of them, 5 of them, doesn't matter. There's always 1 to 2 that has an injury. Now, what does that mean? It's not necessarily because they took the power lawnmower and made a ramp and tried to jump the car with it. That would have been a deeper injury. But most of them just have shit on them because they're looking for something. Connectivity. See, that sympathy is a way they found they have ailments. And you notice it, Roxy noticed it, on every time she would see the deep countries come out, right? All of them, all the incidents that she sees, those interactions, she saw ailments. Something to say, I have pain. The boot is the easiest one on the left leg. A couple of wraps, a gauze around here. She saw 3 or 4 of those. But they were just like things you can put on and off. And they looked like they were inconveniences. But they drew something. What did they draw? What did they draw? They drew attention, which is what? Create a behavior magnet to give themselves what? Value. Existence. Got to do the work. Got to dig in. Got to see what it is. But don't spend time there. Don't make it a mastery, because that's when you bring and invite in this fractal mind to process. Know it intimately in the moment and move the fuck on. And keep going, and you're going to start to notice. I bet your sweet ass, all of you, I bet you could spot someone being a fractal a mile away now. It's becoming so frickin', you're like, oh my God, here we go again. Really? Do we have to go through? See, you know when someone's being an image. Now, it could be their truth or not. They could be playing a game, knowing better, but they're doing it anyway. It doesn't matter. But you recognize the vibration, don't you? So are you, let's say, mastered enough to recognize it in yourself, accept it, and move on without giving any process? Because that in and of itself is a human behavioral structure. A creative behavior that gives you some kind of precedent to have some kind of existence relating to reality as worthy when you're already built in, because you're fucking existing. So December, any of you close enough to come down, we'd love to see you here. I'll be there. This is Ophiuchus. Osipius, I'm sure, is going to come in. We'll have Achilles, I'm sure, going to teach vibration. And of course, Sly's going to make an appearance. Any of you have any questions? Want to shoot about anything? Thursday night weekend coming up. Before I answer questions, let's look at something. If you are intimate with your behavior, and your behavior discovered is something of passion, then don't give that a second thought. In other words, the next time you take a drink or light up a cigarette and you love it, don't question it. Drink your cup of coffee and you love it, don't question it. Don't put any action up against any kind of measure, because that is another fucking behavioral structure, a created behavior by society that you're trying to measure yourself against. I don't care if you smoke 4 packs a day or drink a fucking 6-pack a day. You be yourself. And we always do vices. It could be the other thing. It could be anything else. You're a human lost in this land, and you have all these resources around you to fucking experience the human fucking journey, and you hesitate on all of them because some asswipe wrote down in a book that this might not be more conducive to you, because they needed to be some structure of egoic connectivity because they didn't have a big enough dick, so they used you as a scapegoat to know that they have more smarts than you. They wrote a fucking law or some bullshit, let's say paper, whatever they did. Don't pay attention to them anymore. You deserve you. I can't shove it down your throat, but I can kick your ass about it, because you just love yourself too much and you don't know it. There's no physical harm. Sure, you might get cancer and die. So fuck what? How great it is to fucking get cancer and die. You're eternal. There's no death. There's only experience. And all the experience, like their Jerma, good Roxy, she was practicing that. Jerma said last night, you're always more. When you start to become a habit, a creature of habit, to rely on safety and security, that's, is when you're afraid to let go of the more of the relying it to be the same. You want more of what you already are. That's the habit you are. Be more of what you're not and discover what you can be. Anyways, questions, anybody? Jennifer.
I didn't have a question. I had a little thing I wanted to share with people. It was a realization I had a couple of days ago in the morning when we were talking. I can't remember who was being channeled, but it was how ashamed and embarrassed I've been my entire life of having what I have with my family, them giving me everything their way. And then this part of me that I got very deep and dirty with, which was the feeling of being used as sort of a mat to sort of, that made it okay to be embarrassed and ashamed about what I had.
Because so you can be used as a floor mat.
Exactly. And I didn't see it, and I was crying about it, but it felt really good. And I know in the moment it came out, it was very painful. And then I just sort of accepted and went on, and I don't feel that anymore. I don't think about it as much anymore, and things have just shifted for me in the way that I see myself. So,
because that's a focus. You see yourself differently, and you trust that's true. And the more you trust that trust builds to where it's not even questionable anymore. There'll be a day when you walk into your parents and your family is there, and they're all maybe another Thanksgiving dinner, and not 1 ounce of fear will ever surround you in any kind of interaction with any of those at the table, because you are no longer that relationship to reality. And the relationship to reality is not the fucking entities in front of you. It's the relationship with the reality that you have with yourself. That's why we say focus on the kingdom. You're not going to change them. You change this frickin' right here, they have to change, or they don't show up. If you'll never even have one of your sisters in your memory, and they won't show up, and all the versions of your parents don't have a sister, right? Or your family don't have another sister if she doesn't match your vibration. You'll never remember, and neither will anyone, just for that moment, because that's your match.
Yeah.
Maybe, your sister all of a sudden changes the vibration, and then you have a sister, and then everyone in the moment creates a memory of always had a sister. One Thanksgiving you don't have him, another one you do. You can't put anything. You can't put anything in permanency because it doesn't exist. If there was permanency, we would have already found the end.
Right. And it's interesting to feel the more now from last night's class because everything feels more. There's no more polarization in my mind about anything that shows up. It's just more of me. So yeah, that was just really cool. I just wanted to share that.
Good share. Anyone else? Questions about behavior? Intimates, truth. If you want to be a deer hunter like Tammy, not this Tammy, then be a deer hunter. Yeah, she hunts too.
Hello.
Hello, Bailey.
How do you make out a turbulent ocean?
I make out a turbulent what?
Yeah. How do you make out a turbulent ocean? Who's there with you?
My friend.
Hello, friend. That was a great question from your friend.
It's from me.
Either. I know it's from you, but he didn't understand it either. What are you trying to ask?
In a sea where the waters are never the same, how can you put together a permanent picture to reflect off your mirror? Things are never the same, so how can you ever...
Why do you need to be permanent?
I don't, but...
Then stop trying. As soon as you say what, that's the security self of the image trying to make reality stable. Reality is absolutely, the change is the only constant. You have to get used to that idea, then you're not going to hold on to anything dependable. And guess what you're going to have? A life you've never known. You're going to have the life of the now. But right now, you're trying to hold on to life as mattering. What does it matter that life has to be calm? Because then you have control of it. Right. So now you have to accept that you are trying to control reality, which you can't. Does that make sense, Bailey?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
So give up. Give in. Let go. Watch what happens. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to only have existence no matter how much you let go and no matter how much fucking shit happens to you. The only thing that's truly going to happen is you're going to be aware of it because that's what you are. You are experience in the now for fucking ever. So if it's good or bad, that's up to you. Those are your belief systems taught in a polarized world because you came here a forgotten God to be remembered. So the only thing you know is good and bad. And so however you feel about reality is your experience, kid. You can't change it. Who the fuck are you to change reality unconditionally? You want to put a condition on reality because you're having a bad time or a shitty time? Well, then realize that's your polarized self that you've coveted from behavior because the society taught you things were bad. That's all. Not your fault, your personality construct. You release that, start to accept reality is, instead of reality is supposed to be this or should be that or ought to or shoulda, coulda, woulda, not. And be reality is, and you're going to start seeing reality in a whole way that you've never seen before because it's fucking exquisite. Creation is unconditionally fucking perfect, but you've never seen it because you've spent your whole life trying to change it because you're having a bad day. Whenever you have a good day, it gets too good. To realize that. Anyone else? What's up, Franco?
Greetings.
Greetings. What time is it there? Like 2 in the morning?
No, it's 10 p.m.
Where are you at?
South America, Bolivia.
Oh, you're in Bolivia.
Yeah.
How's Bolivia?
Beautiful.
How's the politics?
Uh,
Pretty stable?
yeah.
Kinda.
We have a regime. We are under a regime.
Yeah, you have a regime right now. Got it.
Yeah, regime.
What's your question, Boo Bear?
the thing is, I noticed that I get a lot of attention from people. Wherever I go, like people notice me. I used to enjoy this. I didn't know it, but now, you know, sometimes people doesn't notice me, and it's when I'm doing my thing. But like it's like I'm invisible, right?
Okay.
But I'm like tired of being noticed everywhere I go, like, and
Well, you can't be. Look, what did I don't know. Didn't you guys have a class on this a couple of days ago? You change, and people are going to start to notice you. They're going to be attracted to you because of your vibration. But here's the issue in your mind. Now, this is a behavioral idea. You ready? Are you listening?
yes,
You think you're responsible. You're not responsible. Just because they notice you, what are they doing? Just looking at you more? Are they actually talking to you?
they talk about me, they
So
look
what?
at me.
So what? Because you're vibration. But you're not responsible to do anything, are you? Unless you have a
No.
creative behavior that says you should be.
Yeah.
That's what you got to look at. Because for some reason, you would actually give a shit that you're getting looked at.
Yeah.
Roxanne did for a while.
I don't know if I misunderstood, but
Doesn't matter.
when I'm in the now, like last year, like two years now, I started selling things in the street, and you know, I was in the now, nothing wrong could happen to me, all that. But you know, it got to a point that I got so much attention because I was making a lot of money in the street. I was using, you know, all what I learned from your channel, the YouTube channel, and it happened that it was a lot of pressure, like
No.
people talking about robbing me, people
See,
searching for me.
all that's bullshit. Did any of this shit happen?
No.
Okay, then what do we see? See what you're doing right now. None of it happens, and we're right now. But you're fucking living in time trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with you because people are starting to pay attention. Listen to me. You didn't listen to the class the other day, apparently, so let me remind you. When you change your fucking frequency and you become a beacon of light, all these people need to know what the hell you are because that's what they are, and they forgot, and you found what you are. So if you don't want to be a fucking light worker, then shut your light down and go back down and start to hide. Stop listening to the class. Go back to sleep. I don't give a flying fuck. But what you're not going to do is try to get an answer out of me that would be a problematic idea of salvation because this is not a problem. This is a discovery for you to understand you're not responsible for these fucking humans that are coming after you. Are you following me?
Yes.
All
So
right.
it's just my focus. It's just me.
Well, who else is it? Ain't me, bitch.
But like, you know, I think it's because, you know, I've been stopped in the past, and I manifested that I wanted to die that day, and right at that moment I didn't want it, so I didn't. I went out of my body and everything, but I think it's that I don't let it go or something. I think it's just my focus there. But it's so hard.
It is hard. Yes, but see, that's a belief system that you don't have to pay attention to. That's why you notice it, you accept it, and you move on in the now. Because if you stay in it, it's going to start to stir up all those fucking memories, and here come the emotional attachment. You're going, fuck, this sucks. I'm depressed. I want to kill myself.
Or everybody. Yeah.
Or everybody. It doesn't matter. But you're the one who stays focused. Energy follows awareness. What do we say? Go to the now. The now doesn't have time.
Yeah.
The now has the unknowable.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Can't be embarrassed. Can't hesitate. Got to be yourself. Got to live. No one knows the time except you that you choose to leave. And however you leave, physical death, realization, it doesn't matter. But while you're here, be the love for yourself and discover everything about the unknown. Get out of the shit of what might happen or what could happen or I'm not this and this is not. Stop. Those are attached behaviors, created societal norms, not just coveting ideas of the big ones, you know, little tiny intricate freaking things that waver you, the way you speak about yourself, the way you talk. All of these are truth. Everything is vibration. Realize that. Get intimate in the now and move on. If it comes around again, don't go, oh, it's around again. Don't do that. Say, well, awesome, and just move through it and keep current. All right. We'll get this out. We'll see you guys on Monday. I don't know if I'll be here, but you know what I'm saying. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you.